Hello, everybody, and welcome to Libromancy, a podcast about the magic of books. I'm your host, Josh, and today I'm going to be talking about Sapphire Flames by Alona Andrews. So let's love the magic of books. This was a fun series. This is a fun addition to this series. I really enjoy it. This so far is so good. I feel like it continues the same as the first three books in the series. So it's a very similar kind of plot structure and setup that we have going for us. And hey, if it works, don't change it. So I'm totally fine with that. And I really like the naming convention. This is not spoilery, just in case you think it might be. The first three, Burn for Me, Wildfire, they're all kind of just flame-based. And these ones, the next three, Sapphire Flames, Emerald Flames, Ruby Fever. I don't know if it's Emerald Blaze, Ruby Fever. They're all, precious stone, emerald, ruby, diamond, which is 3.5 in the series, and then flames or fire. So kind of showing that, like, yes, this is still part of the same series, but it's also different. So I like that. I think it's good. I had a fun time seeing this one is from Catalina's point of view, so I had a good time seeing that. It made it different. I still miss Nevada because you always like the first character you're introduced to. That's kind of the point of introducing your first character. So I miss her, but I thought it was good. She's tangentially involved, and it's still, it's not bad. So I think we're just going to have to get into the spoiler section, though. I know it's quick for a non-spoiler section, but I don't have a ton to say. And the atmosphere is great. I loved it. It's very immersive. Again, the emotions are always just like super palpable during the critical scenes, especially if there's fear or the sexiness scenes. They kind of get you. They're there, right? You can feel their desire. How about that? Not anything else. So let's go into the spoilers. Let's just start talking about our characters. We get Catalina, like I said, and I really enjoyed being in Catalina's head and seeing her difference, because hers is just, her voice is so different than Nevada's voice, where they have similar goals. They have to protect and they want to take care of their family, but Catalina is all about, I can't use my magic, or if I use my magic, this is the consequence, and I have to be 100% sure that this is the right move because I can't go back on my magic. Where Nevada is kind of like, I just ping you all the time, and if you tell the truth, I tell, and if you're not, then I know. And then, she can use her active and do that. So I really liked Catalina's, the difference in their voices. Catalina, I loved her description of her magic as like her wings, and that she, opens her wings, and when people see her wings, that's what causes them to fall in love with her. And I really like that. And Catalina has a lot of growth in between 3 and 4, and I like that it's described in 3.5 Diamond Fire, if you read that, how it happens that she's kind of in charge of the wedding and she has to do some investigating, and then she starts meeting with Rogan's mom and working with her, to kind of grow up and to be a house, because the Rogans obviously like the Baylors, like their family, so of course she's going to help out a little bit, right? So I like that. And I like that this one is all about, Nevada was all about keeping her power hidden, and Catalina is all about keeping her power contained. And, she's starting to relax that and get used to using her power. And I thought that was great. I really enjoyed that. I just like her actions, that they feel grown up, but still not grown up, because she is 20-ish again. So I like the change and the feelings that they have and the way they act, because sometimes they feel a little mature, but like they're not perfect adults, and nobody is, so it makes sense for me. Now, I think one minor complaint in this is it's just Runa Ederson. I felt like she was way more competent in Diamond Fire, which is the novella, of course, but in that one, it was dealing straight with just like, I'm going to detoxify all this stuff, versus the house stuff, and her parents being killed and being the head of a house now. So I can kind of get that, and I'm like, okay, are you just being a little nitpicky because it was like two completely different situations? And it's like, I don't know. She just felt a little bit more off the handle in this one, and that's totally understandable, though, given the plot. So I can't like say it was like bad, because I feel like that's well written when she does things against her self-interest because she's so emotional, right? So I don't know. Alessandro, he's back. I kind of knew he would be, because you kind of get that feeling from the first three, like, hey, it's Alessandro, he's going to be Catalina's love interest. But then, it's kind of shut in the first three books, and then he comes back and he's just like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to protect you. And he's such an interesting character, because he's got all these personas, like, oh, this is my face I use with your family, this is my true face, like, this is another face I use when I'm with you, this is my I'm trying to be sexy face, and my distracting face, and my Instagram face. And who is the real Alessandro? We can tell that he obviously loves Catalina, because what's the point of introducing a love interest if you're not going to make it work eventually, hopefully, right? So, but it's just it's good to see his character, that he is not just the pretty boy that she's fallen in love with. Like, he is, but at the same time, he has other things. His magic, and he's like an assassin, which was just kind of shocking to me, because I was like, when you first see him in the book, he, stabs somebody, and you're like, what? That's interesting. That's not what I was expecting, but it makes sense. He has the anti-magic field, basically. That's his ability. And so to make an assassin, that's pretty good. Like, you don't want your assassins to be just straight up murdered by magic all the time. So that makes sense. And then he's also got his summon item ability, which is just awesome. He has to kind of direct it and be like, I need something to do this. And it kind of summons it into his hands, but like within a certain range. And it's just like, ooh, that's awesome, but like not too overpowered, because he has to like pull it from somewhere. So Alessandro, I like his personality. He's the competent guy. He's going for it. He knows what he wants. I like that he's truly like immune to Catalina, or at least he says he's immune, and because he loves her. And that's why people who love Catalina, are like truly love her, are immune to her power, because that's kind of what her power does, is it causes that love. And so I like that makes sense. Like, yes, the siren has to have some weakness. Obviously she has to break their mental defenses, and if she wants to do it safely, she does, she can. So I like that. This is let's just go over the plot a little bit. It's a pretty similar plot. They start investigating something, people warn them away, they go anyway, they get dragged into something bigger and more powerful and more dangerous, and they have to accept it. So similar plot, but hey, if it works, don't fix it, don't break it, right? If it keeps working, don't fix it, because it's already working. So so this one, they are investigating, obviously, Runa Ederson's mom and her sister's death. There's some hinky things going on. They investigate it. They find out that her sister is not dead, and that her mom was assassinated, and her mom was an assassin. And they investigate Diathek, who are creating, users, magic people who have been warped. And usually when you're warped, then you can't do magic. But these ones are warped and can do magic, giving them a little bit more of a lethal edge, right? And then they take this to Linus Duncan, who is he's the family friend, family uncle. And I loved it. He just was like, okay, now we're in serious mode, and this is bad. You shouldn't have come here with this. Or like, what are you doing with Alessandro? He's not a cool guy. And they find out that they become wardens of the state. They are above everybody else in the, pretty much, but it's all super secret. And if they reveal, they will have to kill whoever they reveal it to, and get in big trouble. So it's like, oh boy. They keep investigating. They get shot at. They eventually fight with Benedict DeLacy, who is a mind ripper, which is crazy. So he can break your mental defenses and then just kind of scramble your mind and make you he's a phobic, so he likes to induce phobias and fears. And it's just like, okay, he's very scary. But obviously, Alessandro's immune, so the way it works is interesting, and the way they have their combat and their conflict is interesting because of who the characters are and how they're working, right? I was a little surprised that I wasn't really surprised. I knew it going into it that there was going to be a scene, and it wasn't bad. It was very quick. It was in and out. That sounds wrong. It was over and done quick because of what's going on, where they start kissing, and then Catalina thinks she's used her magic on him, and she breaks away, and then she realizes she hasn't, and she can't. So I thought that was a good scene. It makes sense. Hopefully. And then when Alessandro leaves at the end, though, he's like, oh, I have to leave. It's that duty. I have to do my thing. I can't just be with you. And Catalina makes a deal with her grandma that she won't marry out of the house. So now she feels like she can never be with Alessandro. But I predict, in my infinite wisdom, and, partially from having read not the spoilers, but the plot summary for the next book or the next one, that they will get together. Not even a plot summary. It's like the back of the book, right? But it's on Goodreads, so it is whatever that is. That they will get engaged, and Alessandro will just marry into her house because he doesn't want to be part of his house anymore. So I don't think that'll be bad. And one part I really like, I love the conversations between the sisters. It feels like sibling conversation. I don't have any sisters, nor am I a girl, so I can't comment to its accuracy 100%. But the interactions that they as sisters have and their parents have matches in my mind what I had kind of with my brothers and my parents, right? So I like that. I think it's great. And I love the little snark and the sass and the snappy remarks that Catalina and Alessandro have together. Like, well, what about this? And you're just dumb and quit doing that. Like, you ever gonna, just the way they talk, it feels real and it feels great when you're reading about it. So I just love that. Oh, and Sergeant Teddy came back for this book. He did a very teeny part of this book, but I loved Sergeant Teddy. He was so funny. he's just so fun. A giant teddy bear that's a big pacifist, and Alessandra's like, oh crap, there's a big bear, I'm gonna shoot it. And Catalina's like, no, stop, don't shoot the bear. And like she goes up and gives it a big hug, and it's just hilarious. And okay, we gotta talk about why Sergeant Teddy comes back, because they have their own private security force. Obviously they can't be a part of House Rogan forever because they want to be their own house and not a vassal to House Rogan. So they hire a Barca, who is just somebody that Penelope the mom knew, and he's a horrible security guard though. Like a security force, like he's always discounting what they say. Oh, nobody could get in here. We are way too prepared. And it's like, you've got Bug living on the premises. You've got Alessandra sneaking all around on the premises. Augustine, Morgenstern. I don't remember his last name. I'm sorry. But Augustine slipped through. And it's like, you guys are super incompetent. Like Bug's been ordering pizza for like 3 weeks. And you guys just keep letting the pizza truck through and never being like, sure seems odd that they're suddenly developing a big taste for pizza all of a sudden. So funny. And they had to replace him, and I was like, good. Like, but the way they did it makes you kind of care about trying to not like totally just be like, well, we hate you, Abarco, get out of here, because that's not what most people would do in their life and in that situation. We're gonna go back to Alessandro and Catalina when he comes to her house, and he's teasing her while she's cooking because she's stressed, and she's like puts on the gloves and starts chopping the peppers, and he grabs one and she's like, oh, you're gonna want to give me that pepper, don't you eat it. And he puts it in his mouth, and then his mouth starts lighting on fire, like not literal fire, but starts heating up. And he's like, oh crap, I've made a mistake. And she's like, bathroom's 2 doors down the hall, don't try to find it, and don't be brave, just come back when you're done. And it's just a habanero pepper, but obviously I'm sure it's like an actual spicy pepper, because I don't do peppers and I don't do spice. My poor body is not equipped to handle that very well. So I stay away, but I can imagine the heat. And I just felt bad for Alessandra, but it was like the perfect little relationship. Like, I had told you not to do that, you still did it. Now you have to suffer the consequences. So I loved that. And I know this is kind of all over the place at the end, but just gonna have to bear with me, guys. Duncan Linus, he got serious because he's always been like happy-go-lucky and kind of just like friendly to them. And so when they went to go visit him and explain that he was on the list of being assassinated, I was like, and he got serious. I was like, what happened here? Is this the same guy, the one who's like super serious and like, oh, by the way, you do this or you'll die, and just like freaks that out, right? Or not freaks. Alessandra's totally chill, but Catalina's like, what's going on? Help me. What is going on? Who is this? It's just like, oh, he's powerful. Like, he's a tech mage, a master tech mage, so he can combine things in seconds and make new things. And it's just like, oh, he's scary. And he is like, oh, when he gets in his mood, you could tell from just reading it. You're just like, oh, he is angry. You do not want to be on his angry side. But I do like the one scene when they're getting ready to attack the lab, and he's like, cheer up, we're about to embark on a massive killing spree with massive property damage. And it's like, oh yeah, massive property damage always makes me super happy in the morning, right? So I thought it was just a lot of fun. And I did like the epilogue. That was good. It made me feel like it explains a little bit more about Alessandro. I think we can hope to learn a little bit more and see what's really going on in the next book, which I'm super excited to be reading and to move forward to. And I think, I miss Nevada, like I said, but I'm not glad she's out of it, but I'm glad that Catalina is proving to be as interesting and as fun to read about as Nevada was. And obviously Nevada's story is kind of done because she's with Rogan, and that's kind of like the pairings of this. And now we'll hopefully get 3 books here, and then maybe we'll get another 3 books with Arabella. I don't know, but we're going to see. And I liked how they kicked Nevada out because she's overworking herself to death, and they just make it so she can't actually donate her whole income except for what she barely needs to survive back to the company. So I like that. And that Catalina's the new head of House, the head of House Baylor. So it's very interesting. And it was a fun book, not too technical. So I really liked that. But that's going to wrap up my discussion of Sapphire Flames by Ilona Andrews. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks to David Hillowitz for the intro and outro music. Of course, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. That really helps us out a lot. And remember to love the magic of books.